give him a round of applause.
Thank you so much for being here. This is our first screening in the Philippines. It is such an honor to be here. It is very special as well to be right here. Thank you so much for the FDCP for your support of the film and of this very screening. But this film, in so many ways, was written after being taught so much about Jose Rizal by my auntie Norma. You'll see there's a dedication to her at the beginning of the film after a quote from Jose Rizal. And so to be here, right near Fort Santiago, where he was imprisoned, and near Rizal Park, where he was executed, I hope that we can summon the ghost of Jose Rizal today, and the spirit of protest and the spirit of questioning the links between religion and politics and the institutions. So thank you all so much for being here, and enjoy the screening. We'll see you afterwards. We'll have a Q&A where Ruby will be joining us. And yeah, thank you all so much for being here, and yeah, let's go. Thank you.
Thank you, Direk. Please enjoy the screening and stay after the credits for our talkback session. Thank you.
We would actually more something more lucrative and stable. So baka ads or death after this moment. If only teaching more sustainable, that's what I would rather do. Oh yeah, I'm thinking of taking. I think if I
Introduce our moderator for today's panel. We have Ms. Leibel Tar, who's written for Rappler, IndieWire, CNN Philippines Life, Philstar Life, Vice Asia, Young Star Philippines, among other amazing publications. Leigh's work gravitates towards the intersections of the queer and trans struggle, material conditions that shape art and art making in the Philippines, and cultural emancipation by centering stories and voices that have long been relegated.
James Robinson. Jane Aguirre. Gabriel Pearson. Christelle Ludichanko. And of course, also an actor in the film, Mr. Emmanuel Santos. So first, my first question actually is for the producers of the film, and any of the three can answer actually. What has it been like to tour the festival circuit?
Room for multiple types of interpretations of the film, yeah.
And something I really like about the film is how deceptive its premise is. At first, it seems like it leans toward social realism, but actually it embraces a more impressionistic sensibility in the way it highlights all these time-shifting audiovisual flourishes, the use of natural light, the emphasis on a more lyrical or poetic rhythm, which is very Kiarostami-esque, I must say. What excites you about that formal reach or aesthetic sensibility?
Yeah, I mean, it was important for me with this film to like set it up within like the realm of like classical narrative storytelling, but then kind of beginning to punctuate it then with like these moments of like nature and the spirit. And I think I wanted that to reflect the journey of Ruby that you go through in the film, of like it beginning quite like I suppose like composed and like precise. So then as we go further in, it starts getting a little bit more impressionistic, and kind of like opening the mind or opening that form in the same way that Sister Yolanda's worldview opens up. Yeah.
And it's very out of time, and like we don't really have an idea where this place is, the milieu of the film. I mean, there's a sense of milieu, but like we also don't have any idea what exactly is the time here or the specific locations of the film. And when you see this in conversation with your shorts, like Inang Maynila and Apollo Health Club, what trickles throughout all of them is this tenuous relationship with spaces that we inhabit, whether that's a health club, an entire city, or like we have here, a colonial community that seems out of time. How much was on your mind, like that flirtation with spaces while putting this film together?
Yeah, it goes down to like every single department really, like, and including our camera work, obviously. My cinematographer, Amy Della, was really important to us to shoot everything wide because we always wanted to situate our characters within the context, whether that be like a convent that keeps them enclosed or the land where they're more open. And then on top of that, we also wanted to give our actors their bodies to be able to perform with, you know, like the typical thing that like the filmmakers were like taught in like film school was like use the close-up when it's emotional. And to me it's like the face, yes, shows one kind of emotion, but to take the body language away from my actors and what they can express with their bodies, I think would have been just like a crime as a filmmaker. So I wanted to give Ruby everything. And so yeah, I think it was very important to like feel like a real lived-in world and space. But when we opened the film, it's like we liked the idea with that opening shot of it kind of being like, when is this set? Could this be set in like medieval times? Like, and then to play with that of feeling the echoes of like the commentary on religion is not a new thing. This is the same thing that like the Romantic poets were using, the same thing that Schubert, whose music is all throughout the film, was doing, was like through this like Romantic music was like questioning like why religion has us thinking in such rigid ways when the land and nature has so much more to teach us. So yeah, that was a lot of the decision making behind the place. And then it was, we didn't want it to set it in a particular town exactly. I mean, like a lot of locations will be recognizable to people here. But we liked the idea of it, yeah, kind of existing in this like limerence of like it could be anywhere in the Philippines, not anywhere. We obviously wanted it in Tagalog, so we could access as many people in the Philippines here. And then yeah, it kind of just went from there.
Thank you, James. Speaking of religion, I want to ask Peter B here. First, congrats on the sublime performance. I wanted to ask about in particular. I think that's one of the biggest moments in the film. That scene in particular suggests this idea of divinity that exists elsewhere or outside of the Catholic Church. Is that something you also believe in, at least in the context of playing the character of Sister Yolanda? Like, pwede ba nating mahanap o mas buhay ba yung presensya ng Diyos sa labas ng simbahan?
Sa loob at sa labas, tingin ko, buhay ang pasensya ng Diyos. Kaya lang minsan ang tao ang nagbibigay ng ng borders, ng limitation, ng constraint dun sa tinatawag na patience ng God. You know, kaya nga there was an earlier interview where I said, I still believe a lot and have so much faith in God, you know. Pero marami akong tanong at pag-aagam-agam sa institusyon, bilang institusyon. Yun.
Thank you, Dr. B. I also want to ask, what were your conversations like with James about how to approach, or maybe not approach, the character in a particular way?
Tagalogin natin. Hirap na hirap ako mag-English sa mga press. Makagantihan ng konti.
Of course.
No. Kidding aside, James parang handed me wholeheartedly yung pagtitiwala, the trust, okay, how I would attack Sister Yolanda. The first original manuscript was written like a poetry, and then, of course, it dumaan ng maraming revisions, right? Tackling Sister Yolanda, sabi ko sa kanya, of course, nag-research ako dahil first time ko to that I would play a nun. So may mga kinonsult akong dalawang madre, okay, isang mother superior, isang yung katulad lang ni Sister Yolanda. So I could see the difference with the way they think, with the way. But there's one thing common in them na yun nga, yung kung ano yung pananamit natin also dictates the way we move, the way, yung ganun pala. So napipilitan kang to be a little bit more demure, a little bit more graceful, ganon. Kahit na tumatakbo ka, ganon. Kasi yun yung parang dictated nung kasuotan mo. Okay? Now, because you are wearing that kind of costume, ang daliri, which was, to me, excellently executed by Kevin Chung, who's not here. Kasi pati yung mga the little details, talagang he really took care of it. Napakadali para sa artista na mag-internalize, characterize, given all those costumes. So ano yung attack sa kay Sister Yolanda? Parang binigay niya lang sa akin. Ako kasi ang tingin ko kay Sister Yolanda, very typical of a Filipino. Parang kala mo lang nakangiti, kala mo lang okay lahat. Ganon. Very pious, nagsisimba, nagdadasal, pero ang dami palang kinikimkim, ang dami palang kino-question. Pero, and I'm 100% sure, I mean, it doesn't only happen with, lay Filipinos, lay persons like us, but I wonder, ito ay nangyayari din sa loob talaga ng konbento o sa loob ng isang seminaryo na ang hirap kayang questionin kung ano na yung kinagisnan. Ang hirap questionin ng nag-lead ng Mother Superior. How would you do gano'n? Kasi parang ang sa kanila, kino-question mo na ang pagsisilbi mo sa Panginoon. Okay? Which I don't agree. Okay? Pero sana ang pelikulang ito, yun nga, pumukaw sa mga, hindi lang sa madre, hindi lang sa mga, na makapagsalita, ma-express nila kung ano talaga yung nararamdaman nila para hindi magkaroon ng decay, the decay inside, yung naaamoy na bulok sa kahuyan, sa forest. Ako, una ko interpretation kagad parang, yun yung si Sister Yolanda, nabubulok siya sa loob kasi kinikimkim niya lahat. And a lot of us, I'm sure, because nasanay tayo and we take it as a compliment that Filipinos are resilient, etc., etc. So, nasanay tayong mabuhay sa hirap at nilulunok na lang kung ano yung mga nakikita nating corruption or injustice or alam mo yung mga ganon. Parang nakasanayan na natin through generations, okay? So, I hope that itong ang pelikulang ito, pumukaw sa atin, especially sa henerasyon ngayon. Dahil marami sa mga naranasan namin nung panahon namin na ibang-iba na ngayon eh. Ibang-iba na yung, halimbawa na lang, where power play and corruption is just so blatant na parang, parang matter of fact lang na meron akong isang bilhin. Naku, teka, nakaano tayo dito sa cinematic. Hindi, joke. Basta yung parang gano'n, parang ngayon, parang lang siya, casual lang, yung gano'n na, meron akong, take home na ganito, casual lang na may ganito. Nung panahon namin, hindi ko sinasabing walang korupsyon, meron din, pero parang ngayon, sobrang blatant, sobrang garapal, na naa-alarm ako. Kaya nga, ang wish ko for this film to become irrelevant someday soon in the Philippines, where you don't see any more corruption, ganun. And I'm pretty much sure that yung corruption na nakikita natin sa politics, sa gobyerno, etc., at kung saan pa mang institusyon dito sa ating lipunan, ay nakikita rin nga sa loob ng konbento. Hindi lang sa konbento, it could be in school, it could be, yun lang po.
Thank you, Tito Ruby. And I think that's our hope then as Filipinos, I don't know, that someday all the producers in the film and let all the pre-colonial research, can you tell us more about that? And what part of your research actually did end up in the film?
I think it's more of the experience and the upbringing of my childhood days that brought a little bit of the animated kind of spirit in the script, wherein I brought the cultural ancestral DNA of being a rural Filipino, and the experiences and the metaphors of the lives and how we live our lives, day-to-day struggles, and how we confront those struggles, and how we give sacrifices in order to continue living, including, sacrifices of, we need to be, for example, Cesar saying, hindi na natin kailangan ipaglaban tong pagkamatay ng anak ko kasi ayoko mawala ng trabaho kasi they are the same employers that employing me. So ayun, that's sacrifice that we even give able being the Filipino of that's like the depth of our ways of sacrificing. I think it's like really pained a very strong and deep kind of emotional input on this research. And also, I want to show the beauty of our rural surroundings to the outside audience of the Philippines. And that kind of the environmental beauty of the Philippines as a paradise, the Pearl of the Orient, which kind of we subtly kind of showed in the cinematographic kind of artistry of our film. To me, it was very important because, like me, I migrated out, living in Australia after 40 years ago, and those are the things that I miss. And those are the things that I wanted to remember. And kagaya yung tanong sa audience and the impact amongst the communities outside, so in Glasgow, Rotterdam, in other places, yung mga Filipinos, they had this kind of like nostalgic remembrance and sense of pride, like, ang ganda ng Pilipinas. Despite of all this, our sacrifices and our hardship in existing, not just living, but just existing, still we find the beauty and we express the beauty through our own being a Filipino. The one of the boys that would give animation to that the diwa and his diwa and his own diwa and his own kind of wisdom in the film, because he's also very much into the preservation of the environment, the preservation of the Filipino culture, and I think he's an animated living metaphor and symbol of that. And when I told him, can you be the diva in our film? I think that 99.9% immediately he just said, yes. It would be a privilege and an honor to do that. And I wish that he was here, because, but hopefully that he'll see it maybe today or tomorrow. Yeah.
Death of the youth, the death of the young because of corruption. I mean, due to corruption. You talk about the death of the body, but the death of the soul that died way before the death of the body. And you talked about the impending death of Yolanda as her body deteriorates, and somewhere along the way her spirituality too. Makes me curious how you see death personally. And to Tita Ruby, just like Lay said, sublime performance. This is one of the best, I mean, my favorite performance of yours, because it's so simplistic and it's very hard to achieve. So kudos, Tita. I see Yolanda's character to be very gray. She's not a black and white person. She's very gray, and I like how you approached it. Can you take us back to the choices you made with your performance in the film? Thank you.
Thank you for that question. First one is very philosophical.
Yeah. I think an interesting thing that since kind of moving away from Catholic Church and doing my own research into different forms of wisdom, before Catholicism and before the Abrahamic religions, the view of death was so beautiful. It was like there is like a peace and a quiet, and there's like a joining of the creator that's like a beautiful thing, and also exists within the rhythms of nature. There's a quote from Ursula K. Le Guin, who's a science fiction writer, that I was thinking a lot about when I was writing it, and it was like, why does the forest live on and on? But because it's constantly dying and being reborn, dying and being reborn. And so it's like things that live on too long unchanged end up killing themselves. I was thinking about institutions within that context and being like, because if religion continues to exist in its exact same state in this modern day where it can't keep up with how we're living, then it's going to ultimately kill itself. But I was interested.
Thank you. Ano, papakainin kita, ma'am. Extra lechon. May lechon nga pala from Cebu. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Paano yung naging proseso ko? Kahit ako nang pinanood ko yung pelikula, naiyak na ako the first time. Dahil doon ko nakita yung character ni Sister Yolanda na buong-buo na. At talagang minahal ko siya. Even while we were filming it. Hindi siya naging mahirap in a way, pero mahirap din siya in another way. Parang hindi siya naging mahirap mahalin dahil pipigilan ko lang naman ang sarili ko bilang si Ruby na masyadong nag-iisip, overthinking, etc. etc. Si Sister Yolanda, pumasok siya sa konbento dahil gusto niyang mapalapit sa Panginoon, gusto niyang mapalapit sa Diyos. And very much, kasi yung ibang mga madre doon pumapasok sa konbento para merong matirhan dahil sa kahirapan. Yung iba pumapasok para magkaroon ng, ng pagkain. Yung iba dinadala ng mga Ako, yung si Sister Yolanda, hindi. Gusto ko talagang pumasok sa konbento dahil ang paniniwala ko, pag pumasok ako doon, at magsilbi, mas magiging malapit ako sa Panginoon. At yun lang naman ang gusto ko. Maging malapit sa Panginoon dahil naniniwala ako na ang Diyos ay gustong maging mabuti sa maraming tao. Iyon ang kanyang So very much like a very progressive activist. That's how unang-una pa lang ganun na yung ko sa kanya. Pero hindi siya aware doon. Hindi siya ganun ka-intellectual. Hindi pwedeng sobrang intellectual si Sister Yolanda dahil otherwise sobrang siyang critical. But I don't think aabot siya ng 30 years sa convent. Matagal na siya lumabas. Okay, parang so slow burn pati yung awakening niya. Okay? So very much typical, ako hindi in ko. Siguro baka hindi na nga sa generasyon nyo. But very much typical of a Filipino where I can relate with. Yung, alam mo, unti-unti, parang may mali. Ay hindi, siguro ganito lang yan. Parang ang sakit yata. Hindi, so umpisa lang yan. Ganon. Laging meron kang, hindi. Tsaka especially if it's for God. Hindi. Ito siguro ang gusto ng Panginoon. Ganito siguro ang tamang pagsisilbi. Ito siguro yung, unti-unti, gradual. Kaya nga, kaya ko gusto yung niya, yung character ni Sister Yolanda. Kasi kahit yung yung pag-question niya, yung pagsigaw niya, yung scream niya, sa loob. Okay, kaya tinanong siya, mapupunta ba that scene in you reminded me, kasi nung ginagawa yung tinanong sa akin nung actor, that character, pupunta ba ako sa impyerno? Talagang ang sagot kagad ni Sister Yolanda, walang patumpik-tumpik, hindi ko alam. Dahil hindi ko talaga alam. Hindi niya talaga alam. Kahit siya, hindi ko nga alam kung ako rin nasa impyerno na eh. Sa, the way, yung pamamalakad sa konbento. Alright? So, parang habang ginagawa namin, sinushoot namin yung si James, napaka-philosophical niya. Okay? Hindi ko man naiintindihan kung sino yung mga author na niya, binabanggit niya. Pero pinakikinggan ko kung ano yung sinasabi niya. Kung ano yung, whatever learnings, whatever insight that he gets from all those filmmakers or masters or, because he's such a, wide book reader, okay? And, you know, really, ano siya, film enthusiast. So, okay. Parang, maano mo naman magagrasp mo naman, yung ganon. Tapos, so unti-unti rin, lumalalim yung pag-unawa ko dun sa sa pelikula, sa ginagawa namin. At lumalalim din yung pag-unawa ko dun sa character ni Sister Yolanda. And at some points, of course, we would disagree. Kasi nung lalo, especially during the latter part where I feel, or maybe I wasn't conscious, as I've already, internalized her, who Sister Yolanda is. I would, hindi naman quarrel, but I would disagree with him, or I would, try to appeal na I don't think she would say that. I don't think she would think like that. This is the, ganon. So, parang even my internalization and in coming to really embrace who Sister Yolanda is, it was a process, parang working process.
Yeah, I think also just to add to that, it was, I think like, it was a beautiful realization for me as a director. It's just like, I have to take my ego out of this. It's like, I'm telling the story of a character like Sister Yolanda, and while I have ideas of what she might be like, and while I wrote that character, it's like she exists beyond who I am, and every single decision when it came to camera work, when it came to costume, was ultimately to take that ego out of it and be like, what is the most correct thing if this story is being told from the perspective of a really pious nun? That's why everything is like slow and gentle. Like my background is like music videos, fashion films, like crazy camera work, crazy lighting, but that's not right for telling the story of Sister Yolanda. And so everything had to uphold what Ruby's performance was, and everything came from her point of view.
Thank you, James. Thank you, Ruby. Ang ganda ng idea na parang hindi mo alam kung nasa impyerno ka na. Parang yung convent itself is like the good place.
Andun na si Joseph.
And there are questions. We have someone sa top, and then we have here again.
One, two, three. Another one, two, three. And here. Try to sit here, Michelle.
Mabuhay ang pelikulang Pilipino! Salamat po!
Uy, meron sparkling water, no? Galing sa convent.
Ang dami pa.
Gusto ko. One more. Teka muna. You first. You first.
Thank you! Thank you,
Ay! Naku, nakakatakot ko. Congrats! Hello! Na-afraid. Oh my God!